The village of Karami was unusually quiet that Christmas morning. A soft harmattan breeze swept through the compound where people stood gathered, their faces grim and their voices hushed. The festive sounds one would expect, laughter, firecrackers, the clatter of cooking, were nowhere to be found. Instead, there was only silence and the occasional murmur of disbelief. Inspector Jide Alade stepped into the compound, his boots pressing gently into the sandy ground. He paused at the doorway where the victim lay. Rennie, a mother too, had collapsed near the wooden frame, her head resting against the edge in a still, unnatural angle. There was no blood, no weapon, nothing dramatic, only the quiet tragedy of a life extinguished by a single, fatal fall. Nearby, a young officer stood with troubled expression, his hands restless at his sides. He muttered, almost to himself, "Just because of Christmas chicken, imagine." Jide looked up immediately. That chicken was never just a chicken. The younger officer blinked. "Sir." Jide's voice was steady and low. It was poverty, years of feeling lesser, years of swallowing small insults until they choked her. The chicken was only the spark. The young man shifted uncomfortably. "Still, she killed her own sister." "Yes," Jide replied, "and she'll live with that longer than any prison sentence." Witnesses spoke in fragments. A shout, a crash, a moment of silence, and then the neighbors running toward the house. Earlier that morning, Rennie had been preparing the Christmas chicken, the one she'd saved money to buy so her children could have a proper meal on the holiday. She plucked it, washed it, seasoned it, humming softly as she worked. Her older sister, Sabo, lived in the next room. Times had been cruel to her. She depended on Rennie more than she ever admitted. Her pride was tender, her resentment growing quietly like weeds in shadow. That morning, Sabo appeared at the doorway, arms folded, eyes sharp. "You think you're better than me because you bought chicken?" she shouted. "Every year you do this. Every Christmas you want the whole village to know you can afford things." Rennie looked up from the pot, startled. "Sabo, what is wrong with you this morning? It's Christmas. If you needed something, you should have said, 'We can share. I don't want your pity.'" Sabo snapped. The argument escalated quickly. Two women scarred by poverty, each carrying more pain than the other understood. Their voices rose, sharp and cutting. And then it happened. A shove, a startled cry, a thud against the wooden doorway. Silence. When the neighbors rushed in, Rennie was already on the ground. Sabo stood over her, trembling, her hands hovering uselessly in the air. "I didn't mean it," she whispered, her voice breaking. "I didn't mean for her to fall like that. I just wanted her to listen." But the damage was done. Later, at the station, Sabo sat on a hard metal chair, hands twisted in her lap. Tears streaked down her cheeks as she tried to speak. "I didn't hate my sister," she said. She made me feel small sometimes, like I was nothing. Every time she had something good, she would remind me that I didn't." She looked up at Jide, her eyes swollen. "I only pushed her. I didn't hit her. I didn't use anything. She just fell." Jide watched her quietly. He had heard many confessions in his career, but the ones delivered with true regret had a different weight. And Sabo's words carried that weight heavily. Before he closed the case, Jide returned to the compound. The Christmas sun was bright, but cold, the kind of sunlight that revealed everything but warmed nothing. On a small bench outside, Rennie's two children sat quietly. The younger one clutched his knees, eyes red. The older one stared into the distance, his face too still for a child. When Jide approached, the younger boy looked up. "Auntie Sabo? Where is she?" Jide knelt down. "She's not here now. But people are coming who will take care of you. Do you have any other family?" The older child nodded. "Only a distant uncle, in the next town." Jide rose slowly. His chest felt tight. Near the corner of the compound, the chicken coop door hung open, swaying slightly in the wind. A single feather lay at the threshold, glowing white against the sand. Jide bent down, picked it up, and rolled it between his fingers. All this, he thought bitterly, because of something meant to feed them, not destroy them. Time moved forward, as it always did. Christmas decorations were taken down, celebrations forgotten, and life in Karami Village resumed its quiet rhythm. The case file, labeled the Christmas chicken case, sat inside a cabinet marked closed. The official report read, "Cause of death, blunt force trauma. Suspect, Sabo Umar. Charge, manslaughter. Motive, domestic dispute over food." But those words were too clean, too neat. They could not capture the tangled truth behind the tragedy. No document could. One evening, as Jide locked up his office, the young officer from before walked beside him. "Sir," he asked hesitantly, "do you ever feel angry at people like her? I mean, she killed someone because of something so small." Jide paused, looking out at the fading orange sky. "Nothing is small," he said softly, "to someone who is nothing." The young man nodded slowly, understanding settling into him like a weight. In Karami Village, people still whisper the story. They talk about how a woman killed her own sister, how it started with an argument, how the chicken was only the beginning, not the cause, and how, in the end, it was never about the chicken at all. It was about silent struggles, about envy fed by hunger, about wounds created by poverty and pride. A single push ended one life and shattered another forever. Even now, when the harmattan wind blows through the old compound and stirs the dust, a lone feather sometimes appears near the doorway, white, fragile, and weightless, a tiny reminder of the morning when Christmas joy turned into grief, and of how tragedies rarely begin with violence, but with silence.